Friday. How are you doing? You're at the end of week 8, which basically means that you're about 2/3 of the way through the program. Well done. We have slightly more than a month to go, and you are doing so incredibly well. You're here. I can tell you it's so interesting that when we first created these video training programs, people said, oh, nobody will stick with it. I have been amazed at the level of adherence that our clients have all over the world, across all kinds of cultures. And here you are, proving the point again, watching the video. So, here's what I want you to know. If you are in category 1, I want you to go and find the video for category 1. There is a special video for category 1. If you are in category 2 or 3, you could sneak over and watch that video too if you wanted to. I don't recommend it. It's only for the category 1 people. I will say, however, if you're in category 2 right now, and in weeks to come, you've make it into category 1, you go, yep, I've arrived, I'm in category 1, then you can then go and find that video and watch it. But if you're in category 1 right now, you don't need to watch the rest of this video. You can go over to the category 1 video. Bye-bye. No, bye-bye. All right. So category 2 and category 3 people, here's where we are. We are at the end of week 8. We've made some very serious progress. We're a couple of weeks into this adventure, a couple of weeks into this experiment, and I realize there's a breadth of experiences that people are having. Some people are thrilled. They've lost really good amounts of weight if they wanted to. They're feeling great, and there are other people that are not feeling so good. Their energy's not quite there yet. They're feeling a little frustrated. Maybe there's a little voice in there going, I don't know. I don't think the summit's anywhere near. I'm going to give up. I know all those things are going on. So here's the exercise that I would want to do today. I want to do this today because, as I've said to you so many times before, progress stimulates motivation. Progress will give you fortitude to stick with your intention. You know what's really fascinating is that we often do have a very sort of schizophrenic way of looking at the world. In one mentality, we can want to make a certain decision, but when we arrive at that moment in time, that decision doesn't feel so good anymore. In other words, there's like your first thoughts about something. Yes, I think I'd like to be healthier. And then I'm at a party, and it's like, yeah, well, I can be healthier tomorrow. Right? And so when you start to notice the progress that you're making, there's a whole lot of interesting things that happen. But one of them is that your body says, hey, I'm making significant progress right now. So with all of that in mind, what we want to look at now is what progress are you experiencing? So I thought we'd do this together. Right? I know I've asked you to pay attention to this in the past, and I know I've even suggested that you could journal it or record it in many different ways. What I'm going to do is go through some of the common feedback that we get from clients that are going through the program, and as they get to this stage. So here are some of the things, and I'm asking you, in a sense, to think, yeah, is that going on for me? Is it going on for me a lot? Is it going on for me for a little? So just pay attention to these different things that we're hearing for people, and then we can see how your progress is going. Are you guys ready? Here we are. So one of the things that we hear from people very often, right off the bat, is that they have decreased motivation to eat junk food and decreased cravings, or more control over their eating decisions. How's that feeling for you? What I mean by that is that sometimes they find themselves going out to an event, they go to a dinner, they go to a conference or what have you, and where maybe in the past the cookies or the croissants or the donuts or whatever the crutch food was, is that they find themselves, you know, maybe I still want it a little bit, maybe I don't want it at all, but either way, they find themselves able to overcome. Think about that as a form of progress. You know, if that was the only thing that people got from this program, that in itself would be a very powerful thing, because most people have a total lack of freedom when it relates to food. They think they have phenomenal freedom because I can eat whatever I want, except that what really is going on is there are many foods that they don't have a choice about, that if somebody serves it, they're gonna eat it. They don't want to, they want to lose weight, they want to be healthier, but oh, it's there, I have to eat it. And so, have you gained a little bit of freedom in that respect? Maybe, maybe not. I'd like to know. How about this? Have you found that your digestion seems to be smoothing out a little bit? Of course, there's a little bit of a transitionary time. Sometimes people feel some bloating and gas when they first switch on to the alkalizers and all this vegetable. Remember, processing vegetable matter, processing plant matter, it's a whole different process than most of us have been doing on any kind of a daily basis. Most people are eating so much more vegetables now than they were before that, yeah, it takes a little while for them to transition through the process, and so they initially feel a little bit of bloatiness and gassiness. Has that started to fade away? Have you noticed that your bathroom experience has improved at all? Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. I'm looking for ideas here. I'm looking for areas where maybe you've observed some progress for yourself. How about inflammation? Are there areas where you've been dealing with some kind of infection or inflammation? Is any of that going down for you? Remember, a huge amount of the symptoms that people deal with, a huge number of the symptoms that people deal with are really infection and inflammation based. So have you noticed any inflammation going down? Have you noticed, for example, if you've had sinus issues or throat infection type issues, has that begun to go away for you at all? Are you breathing a little bit more easily? These are all things to look for, and I'm mentioning them for a very important reason, and that is that some of these things, once they're gone, you'll forget you had them. And I want you to remember, as I told you before, for two reasons. I want you to remember so that you can share with the world that there's another side, that you can inspire people to live a different way. Hey, maybe you'll go out there and tell them about WildFit, or maybe you'll just inspire them to eat well anyway. Great. The best way you're going to be able to do that is if you remember exactly what it was like before. So I really want you to listen to this list and say, hey, are any of these things true for me? And if they are they true a lot or a little bit? How about sleep? Has your sleep improved? It's very common at this stage for clients to be reporting better sleep. Some people, maybe not, but are you sleeping better? Do you need less sleep? Do you find you're sleeping deeper? Do you find that you're less groggy in the afternoons? Let me know. I want to know what's going on for you. Look for these little things. How about brain fog? Many people write to us and say, hey, I used to get this brain fog, like in the afternoons especially, and it seems to be gone. I feel sharper, more mental acuity. Is that going on for you? I hope so. Headaches? Now this is an interesting one because a lot of people, they go, I used to get headaches and I just realized I haven't had one for quite a while. How about you? Did you used to get them? Are you still having them? Have they gone down? Are they less intense? Are they gone away? I don't know. Let's find out. How about, I already mentioned like sinus infections stuff, but how about allergies? Very often we hear from people that their allergies could like either completely go away or dramatically reduced. I first discovered this for myself because I was so allergic to cats and dust that if I was in a room with either, my whole face would swell up and I'd get like, my sinuses would clog up and I couldn't breathe. It was awful. I can cuddle cats all day long. Hell, I can cuddle dusty cats if I want to because I'm not allergic to either one anymore. Now, it may not be that I'm not allergic to them anymore, but here's my theory. My theory is that when we are kind of sensitive to something, like our histamine levels raise up, but there's kind of a threshold. And if there are many different things irritating our immune system, then they can push those things above the threshold, and then we start seeing symptomology. So sure, my body still may be creating histamines when I'm around cats and dust and what have you, but it's not showing up in any form of symptom for me at all. So what's going on? Did you have allergies before? Are they the same? Have they been reduced? Are they eliminated? This is what we're looking for, progress every step of the way. Have you noticed anything else? Have you noticed, I'll give you a really good example. How about any pains? Were there any aches and pains that you were having before that are lower? Or maybe even gone? This is a very important one because very often when pains go away, we forget we had them. I had such a powerful experience of this. You see, I used to get these stomach cramps. Now, I now know they were directly related to lactose intolerant and dairy products, but I used to get these stomach cramps. They were so bad that I couldn't think when they were happening. It was terrible. And then they went away, and I forgot that I ever even had them. I got invited over to a friend's house. She made this lovely dinner, very healthy, but then she served ice cream for dessert. I thought, well, this is my first 6 weeks of being healthy in my whole life. Basically, right about where you are right now. And they served up this ice cream and I was thinking, you know what? I was like, I've been so good. I love ice cream so much. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be that guy, right? So I said, go ahead. I'll have a small bowl. I ate the ice cream and I got to tell you something. The next day, that cramp was back and it was so terrible. It was worse than it ever had been before. My body was saying, hey, idiot, didn't you get the message before? Stop that. Right? But what was so interesting was that I'd forgotten about it. In fact, I had a client come to us. She's actually a good friend of mine. She's in her 60s, and she did the program, and she lost a little bit of weight. She didn't have much to lose, but she had other symptoms and other things going on. And then one day she was doing a check-in on a live coaching call, and she's like, yeah, this is better, and my sleep's better, and I lost a little bit of weight. I don't really want to lose any more, so I'm in category 1. And yeah, so I'm basically doing okay. I said, great, thank you for the check-in. And then she said, oh, wait. I just realized there's something, oh my God, she said. And this is exactly the way she said it. She goes, I'm telling you, 2 weeks ago, if you squeezed my knuckles, I would call out in pain. and there's no pain at all. She'd forgotten about the pain. So, are there any aches and pains that you used to live with that are maybe now gone? How's your skin? Have you noticed any differences in your skin? Has your skin cleared up? Is it looking a little younger? Are you feeling better about your skin? Has it got a bit of a better glow? How about, let's see, how about your hair and nails? Many people report at this point that they've noticed their hair and nails are much stronger and grow faster. So here's what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to look for progress, because every tiny little bit of, even if you're suffering right now, even if your energy's low, even if you feel like you haven't lost any weight, because there are going to be still a small percentage of people in that category, progress will be so stimulating and motivating for you. Because if you look at it and go, hey, I'm in pain and I'm getting nothing, then it's not worth it, right? If you're in discomfort, if you're giving up all these foods and your energy's low and you're getting nothing from it, it won't feel like it's worth it. So what I'm asking you to do with an open mind is look at what you're getting. Look at even the tiniest little bit of progress, because it'll give you real motivation. And for many of you, I know because I get the emails, I get the Facebook posts and the Instagram and the tweets. I know that at this stage, many of you are reporting all these things, that your weight has dropped off, the inches are reduced, you're sleeping beautifully, your head is clear. I know, and I'm so grateful for it. And I want you to make sure you remain conscious of it. You see, some people think this section here is just for the people that are struggling. No, it's just as much for the people that are celebrating their victories, because it's so important for you to remember them. Because later on, when the food devil comes along and says, oh, you've been doing so well, and besides, we're feeling great. I mean, we were always feeling great, weren't we? Why don't we just have a little chocolate cake? Well, a little ice cream never hurt anybody. Yes, it did. And I want you to remember that it did. I want you to remember this progress, because it'll give you fortified strength to deal with the food devil. So remember, that's your core focus for this week. That's your core focus for right now, is to look for progress. And you want to make sure you're doing your breathing exercises. You got to stay hydrated. Make sure you do not get hungry. Get your alkalizers in. You want to have 2 or 3 of those things a day. Very, very important. And find some time for some intentional movement. That's your focus, and I'll see you on Monday.